It's 2026 and you've noticed it. Some things are not the same when it comes to doing business. There was a day, not even that long ago, where people felt like getting government contracts was pretty solid. People would say things like the government will never run out of money. This is where we need to be placing our eggs. And as a business owner, getting government contracts seemed like you had the holy grail of opportunities that your business would be solid forever. Getting awarded these multi-year $1 million contracts had companies feeling like they were on the way to solidify their place in business for the next several years. And then what happened? 2024, and contracts that were literally sustaining businesses for years were swept underneath them like a thief in the night, right? I talked to so many entrepreneurs during that time that actually lost contracts. I was actually working with someone in a VIP day, and that was her main reason for wanting to figure out what the next steps were, because these things, how she had built her business, all surrounded on DEI. So when those contracts went, it was like her business all of a sudden was drained overnight. Have you felt the same way? Have you seen the same things happening in your business? Well, we know that today is a new day. And what I love to remind people is that the money never disappears. It simply moves. We saw this happen in 2020 with the pandemic. Yes, there were businesses that closed their doors, but there were businesses that did unprecedented growth. This is the same thing. During this time of recording, this is 2026, so we've been a couple of years into it, but the effects of this are still being felt every day. The headlines are talking about more government contract cuts, more layoffs, more this, all these things affecting the economy due to what's happening in Washington. It's now time to look at what exactly is the next move. Where did the money go? Where are the opportunities? Because as a savvy business owner that I know you are, you understand that this opportunity with government contracts isn't the only way that your business will continue to survive. Maybe it's time for you now and you're starting to think about, how do I get into other spaces that I've been before? Maybe you're thinking about corporate spaces. And I'm here to tell you, even though the headlines love to share how companies aren't spending on this and how they aren't doing this, companies are still spending millions of dollars with organizations just like you, even to do DEI projects. Listen, it's like you can't even say the word now because it's just become this buzz. But understanding that there are pockets and spaces where you have low-hanging fruit is going to be the best ways that you can begin to replace some of these contract opportunities, because we don't know if and when things will restore, but you have a business to run. You have teams to support. And so it's time to quickly pivot. Here's a couple of things to think about in this space. Number one, you have solid experience. If you have gone through the government contracting process, please understand that the corporate space is like the low-hanging fruit to go to. I know many people are thinking about, well, do I need to pivot my services? Should I change who I'm working with? Or worse, trying to get online and do all these different things to build back up that side of your business, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's always a good way to have multiple streams. But I don't want you to overlook the main way that you could easily take what you've already been doing with these agencies and work with the private sector. Alone, school districts, universities, corporations spend on the lower end hundreds of thousands, but definitely $1 million a year in professional development. So if you are in any type of strategy, consulting work, executive coaching, any soft skills, professional development, leadership development stuff, those things are exactly what corporations are looking for right now, and they are looking for people like you. The process to doing this is actually a lot simpler than the things that you've done to get government contracts. If you're in the 8A program, or you've done the process to get in the 8A program, you've done the whole prime sub, all of that type of stuff, trust me, when it comes to corporate, you are going to be experiencing a cakewalk. If you made it through all that, then you can definitely make it through the steps to do this as well. allergy season. I'm about to have to get a tissue here in a second. But that is the most important part of this. I don't want you to get stuck thinking that it's going to take 6 to 12 months to do this. In fact, let me tell you, when you have relationship with these organizations, when you start to build solid opportunities, right place at the right time is really in your favor, right? These organizations have budgets that they must spend by the end of their fiscal years, which for many companies exist in different parts of the year. That's one main difference about government to corporate that I want to point out. Typically with government, June 30th, it's very rigid in terms of how they do business. Corporations is flexible, which is a good thing, which people automatically think of the negative of like, well, it's elusive. How do I do it? If there's no specific process, how do I get into it? But it's actually a positive that there is no rigid process, because all you have to do is speak with the right person who makes decisions, talk about the results that you've already created, and create your own opportunities. That's the other thing. When it comes to corporate, you can actually set yourself up to be one of one. The thing that I find challenging with the government space, especially with RFPs, is like there's one in a million. And I've done them before. I've done them several times up into the $1 million level for organizations. I have experience in it. It's just not my favorite because I don't want to be 1 in 50 doing a whole essay to get this contract opportunity. Now, do I do it? Yes, but that is not my ideal. That's not my low-hanging fruit opportunities. If I wanted to replace contracts quickly, I would figure out, first of all, what do I already have that's of value to the organizations who are already looking for me? That's the thing. Not trying to make up anything, not trying to get people to see why this should be a benefit to them. None of that. Really clear on who already has my problem. My second step would be, who do I need to talk to who makes decisions as it relates to this? So for you, that could be many different people. That's why I said this can be evolved, and it's so many opportunities because it's not just one straightforward path in how to do it. If you're in strategy and operations, you could be talking with VPs, you could be talking with directors, you could be talking with the operations leaders. There's so many different ways that you could have an entry point into corporate, which is a good thing. Next thing I would do is think about what types of offers. You don't need to necessarily have a corporate offer already built out or even build out new things. We're going with what you already have. The materials that you already have are good enough to work with these corporations. Now, when it comes to these different ways and different entry points, you could have keynote speaking, you could have workshops, you could do some consulting work, you could license your materials, you could sell your books. I just actually did this with an organization out in Las Vegas. They're buying copies of my books for their accelerators. It can be super simple things that can add up to match the level that you're looking for, especially if you experience losing contracts. I would say for you, go after speaking. That's the easiest way to get in these organizations. Find out what events are happening. Find out when they're having their sales kickoffs, their all company meetings. They're always looking for speakers to do those things. Get yourself in the rooms of these organizations, whether that's call for proposals or speaking directly to the event planners, the meeting planners. That's low hanging fruit. And this is conference season. Like, we're going to be getting into the space of getting into conference season for the rest of, not for the rest of the year, but this is prime time, April, May, some even going up until October. This is going to be prime time to get into the space of these opportunities. So you want to have these conversations now. There are folks who get paid, $25,000 plus for 1-day engagements. You passing that up? I don't think so. Where you show up and go home. This is one thing that I've spoken with a few business owners about. They're like, when it comes to some of these things that I'm doing, yes, they're lucrative, but I got to figure out back of the room, I got to do this. Or if you're in the government space, you got invoicing, you got to chase down money, you got team, you got subcontractors, all these different things. What if it could be as simple as you showing up, teaching on your brilliance, going home with a 5-figure check, and you get 3 or 4 of those? That's $100,000. Simple, easy money. Let's not make this thing difficult. I have to remind this to myself as well. Let's stop looking for the hardest ways to make money. Yes, government contracting sounds great and I love it. And I love those who do it. And there are also other pathways to get a similar amount of money with a lot less work. Why not? With a lot less oversight, with a lot less management, and not having to do essays to land the opportunities. What about just doing a conversation and maybe a 5-slide proposal? I think that beats hours on an RFP. And even if you're doing AI, it's still going to take you time to go through it. It's still going to take you time, to align the troops to be able to deliver. It's still going to take manpower to make sure you actually win it. But imagine just having a conversation, very chill, about what you do, finding out their needs. And like I said, maybe doing a 5-slide proposal, but in most cases not, especially if you're going with speaking. Hey, this is what I need. Here's what I do. Cool. Let's get you in. That's simple. When you have a system and a process and you know what you're doing, this should be easy for folks like you who already have a track record of success. So let's go back. If you are looking to replace contracts, launches, just how do you get to a place where you have more margin in your business and in your life while still making the money that you want to make? Corporate is going to be that space. 2026, I am projecting that many people who were doing so well in the government space are about to do the same or even better in the corporate arena. Will it be you? I don't know. If you're going to sit on the sidelines still trying to figure it out or still let people tell you it's going to take forever, maybe. But here's also a thing, and I mentioned this about why it doesn't take forever. People think you need to come into corporate to get $1 million deal right off the gate. Possible, but or even $100,000 deal right off the gate. And maybe that's what's taking a long time. What you can, I'll offer this to you, is instead of looking at how do you go swing for the fences on the first try, which you can, not saying it's impossible. Sometimes the low-hanging fruit, small engagements will begin to add up to be that before you know it. I just gave you that example, 25,000, 3 or 4 engagements. You do enough speaking and talking at events anyway. Why not make 3 or 4 of them for a check? You're at 100,000 and you did what? You know what I'm saying? You did what you already knew to do, what you already have created. So with that being said, think about your low-hanging fruit opportunities that can turn into the bigger ones. Just with you, not with more team, not with more executors, not with more subcontractors. Get out there and just be you and be paid for it. That's what these corporations are looking for. So all sales meetings, workshops, retreats, like these are things that other folks are already on. They already get these calls. I spoke with a woman who is in data science. She showed me her calendar. It's booked for March, like booked, and paid engagements with corporations booked, not events, conferences, just to network and meet people and hope that turns into a client. No, she's already booked with paid engagements. These places are looking for you, but they can't find you if they don't know you. So my next video can talk about positioning and how to get found by these organizations. That would be good. So let me know if that's something that you would want me to cover. Put it in the comments. Tell me if I should cover how to get found by these organizations. And let me know if you're going all in on corporate. I want to know if this is your year where you're now going to look at how do I position myself with these organizations and get consistent corporate contracts. All right. I cannot wait to see you on the next one. If you don't want this time to end, check out this next video. Make sure that you subscribe so that you know when my next video is posted, which will be tomorrow, and continue to engage with me. I want to hear more of what you guys want to see. I have so much planned to be able to share. Well, I shouldn't say planned, so much in my head to share, but I want to hear your questions. I want to hear where you may have been getting stuck so that I can infuse that into these next videos. All right. I'll see you soon. Go corporate. Talk to you later.